I now have the honor to invite His Excellency Soe Aung, Deputy Minister of Social Welfare, Relief and Resettlement of Myanmar, speaking on behalf of the members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to deliver an address.
Chairpersons, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. On behalf of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, I will present our joint statement. The full version will be posted on web. We, the members of the ASEAN Committee on Disaster Management, ACDM, composed of the 10 member states of the Associations of Southeast Asian Nations, join our hands as one ASEAN in the Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction 2019 in Geneva, Switzerland. Guided by the ASEAN Agreement on Disaster Management and Emergency Response and its work program 2060-2020, and supported by ASEAN Coordinating Center for Humanitarian Assistance on Disaster Management, AHA Center, we continue to accelerate our efforts in building a disaster-resilient region with the capability to prevent, mitigate, respond, and build back better. We are concerned about the significant impact of climate change and extreme weather events in ASEAN countries, including drought and other slow onset disasters. In this connection, ASEAN and UNESCAP have recently launched a report of the joint study on enhancing drought risk assessment and early warning services in CLMV, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam countries. In relation to the mainstreaming of disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation, ASEAN adopted the work plan for strengthening institutional and policy framework on DRR and CCA integration, working towards promoting gender mainstreaming and elevating the role of women as key humanitarian actors in DRR and CCA. Building upon the 2018 ASEAN Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction, where we proclaim our support to the implementation of the ASEAN Regional Plan and the Ulaanbaatar Declaration for the implementation of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction. ASEAN remains committed to accelerating action to develop and implement national and local strategies on DRR to reduce disaster losses as guided by established ASEAN frameworks. ASEAN continues to gain footholds in addressing the various challenges in the implementation of the SFDRR by incorporating DRR not only into disaster management, but also other sectors such as education and health, and enhancing coordination and engagement among various stakeholders with more focus on the importance of prevention and mitigation of disasters. We also continue to strengthen new and existing local and national platforms on DRR with the active engagement of both local and national stakeholders in building resilience of poor and vulnerable households to natural hazards. We affirm the commitment of ASEAN leaders to scale up the risk-informed social protection initiatives to address poverty, reduce inequalities, and contribute to a higher living standard. In addition, ASEAN has developed programs such as the ASEAN Safe Schools Initiative, ASEAN Disaster Risk Financing and Insurance Roadmap, and the establishment of the ASEAN Center for Sustainable Development Studies and Dialogue in Thailand as a means towards risk-informed development policies. ASEAN will continue its efforts towards building a disaster-resilient community in the 10 AMS, as well as an inclusive ASEAN community. Lastly, we affirm Our commitment to building resilience to risk and addressing underlying vulnerability is a unifying goal of ASEAN, and we remain committed to support the regional and international efforts in reducing disaster risk for the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and support the effective implementation of the SFDRR across the ASEAN region. Thank you very much for your kind attention.